The interview process is really tricky because there are certain questions you're not allowed to ask by law. For example, you're not allowed to ask things like the candidate's gender, their religion, their age, because that could be looked at as, employment bias. So what we've done is we've created a template that allows you to ask the right questions so you can know if this candidate is ideal for your agency. And ultimately, hiring might come off as super easy, especially if you're looking to hire a friend or family member. But if you're hiring a stranger, you really need to know how to do this the right way and how the professionals do it. This template is designed specifically for home health aides and CNAs. So let's get into it. Before the interviews start, you need to be prepared. And the preparation is very similar to your sales preparation, meaning you need to have the candidate's resume ready, open on your computer or printed out. You need to make sure you have the interview questions ready in front of you before you start the interview, and just be early for that interview. At this point, you should already have set up a video chatting tool of your choice. So whether it's Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Google Hangouts, you should already have that link ready and you should know how to use that tool. And you should not be conducting the interview on your phone. You want to be in front of your computer to conduct the interview. It just comes off as professional because remember, you're competing for top talent, and top talent has options. It's a highly competitive job market right now. So you need to make sure that you're looking at this interview process from both lenses. They are judging you just as much as you're judging them, and they're rating you as much as you're rating them. So while you are looking for a good fit for a candidate, they're also looking for a good fit for their career. You need to have a good first impression, meaning at least, basic things like make sure you look presentable in front of the camera. If you need to put on makeup for the ladies, then you do that. For the fellas, make sure you get a nice ironed shirt because first impression is everything. Remember, candidates that are really good, they're interviewing with your competitors as well. So if they're good, you need to be able to impress them to the point where it's a no-brainer for them to just say yes to your offer. Have a pen and a paper and take down notes if you need to. Small chat is the first part. Cover up the small chat and set an agenda, a process, a tone for the interview. Then wait for them to acknowledge that they do understand how the interview is going to go. So in this case, you're just saying, this is how the interview is going to go. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you questions about you. And then I'll tell you what the job is about and how much it pays at the end of the interview. And they can get a chance to ask questions as well all along the way. Part 2 is designed to ask questions about their current position. If you've been in the healthcare field, you're a nurse, LPN, you're running a business, you know when somebody tells you about their roles and responsibilities at their current job that they are indeed qualified. It's easy. There's certain questions you just have to probe and ask them, and this part is designed for that, for you to extract as much information as you can from the candidate to know exactly how they are performing at their current position and know if they can do equally as good job in your agency. So make sure to read through this part. The first part at the top here is where you're asking questions. The second part here is the ideal response that you're looking for and an example. So each step or each part of this interview process is laid out into 3 parts. It's the question you're going to ask, which is what you're going to focus on, and then what you're looking for in an answer. So what you're looking for in an answer, this is just an example, but the candidate does not have to say everything exactly as the script says. This is just an example of what to look out for. It doesn't have to come out perfect from the candidate's side. Third is the patient's experience and customer service. So this is very, very important, especially if you are handling wealthy clients. Remember, wealthy clients are used to high quality service, the best services they can possibly pay for. You need to be able to identify if this candidate knows how to deal with people that are high value, that know exactly what they're looking for, and that understand good customer service. And this question right here is designed specifically for that. Fourth is conflict resolution skills. It's super unfortunate that the majority of people have not been raised right. And you really see this as they become adults, and you start to identify some of the character traits to be very childish. If you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's some people that, when it comes to conflict, instead of them being able to resolve conflict, they throw a temper tantrum. And that's a very childish thing to do. So this part is designed for you to know how that person handles conflict, not only with you as the business owner, but also with colleagues, with the other caregivers that are going to be working with you. And third and lastly, how they resolve conflict with your clients. Because they're the ones that are going to be going out there and doing the work. They're the face of your agency. If they are not good at conflict resolution, it's going to affect your business dramatically. So this right here is super, super important. Make sure to pay attention to this, because any candidate who does not answer this question the right way, get rid of them. They're not the right fit for you. So make sure you note that down, that this is not a good fit. They cannot tell you specifically with specific examples of how they were able to resolve conflict. You don't need to be hiring them, because they're going to be a headache down the road. Business ethics. Obviously, most of the candidates that you'll be interviewing have never started a business before. They don't understand the importance of business ethics. Business ethics are really simply, can they operate inside your business and be mindful of what is right and what is wrong? How do they communicate, or how do they interact with other caregivers? Do they mentor? Do they keep other caregivers in line when those caregivers don't do things according to your business policy and procedures? Things like showing up late to work. Do they show up to work on time every time? Because if they're assigned to be at a job at 9 a.m., them showing up at exactly 9 a.m., that means they're late. They need to be 15 minutes before 9, which is 8:45. Are they doing that? And you can easily track that on the scheduling tool that you're going to be using, which is When I Work. You'll be able to see all this stuff, you know, and you need to be able to identify. And this question that you're looking at is designed to extract that. Decision-making abilities. Again, most candidates have never run a business, and they've never been given autonomy to make important decisions, ever. Most of these people are just like robots. They just go to work and they don't even question anything, because they've never been empowered to make decisions, which is also unfortunate, because if somebody does not have the ability to make decisions, because remember, we are the sum of the decisions that we make in life. So this question is designed for you to be able to extract, to see, how do they make decisions? Do they have a pattern of making bad decisions? Majority of the people have a pattern of making bad decisions. That's why they're in the position that they're in now, which is in a position of, unfortunately, a position of poverty, distress, stress, all that stuff, depression. Majority of that is a result of poor decision making. We are the result of the decisions that we make in life. Even you, look back at all the decisions that you've made, good or bad, tough or easy, and you'll notice something. The easiest decisions you've ever made are the decisions that have not moved you further in life. The hardest decisions that you've had to make in your life are the ones that have moved you further in life. Simple things like even the decision to start this business. That's hard. Spending the money, learning the skills, that is super, super hard. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that ability, don't have the mindset. So this is designed to extract that, to kind of see, where do they stand? Have they had to make important decisions in their previous positions. Emergency situations. Again, another critical point. When you're looking for a candidate, you need to make sure you're looking for things like, have they administered CPR in the last couple of years or last few positions? Or have they learned CPR at the very least? So if a candidate is good and they are enthusiastic, they know what they're doing, and they can be a good candidate, or they could be a good worker, all you need to do is to make sure that at least they know how to do CPR, because CPR is highly important in emergency situation. So this question here is designed for you to know how they were able to handle such a situation in the past. Quick disclaimer. The majority of the candidates that you'll be interviewing are going to fall in two buckets. The first bucket is going to be candidates that are relatively young, so anywhere from 21 to, let's say, 27, and they don't have much work experience. But that's not something you should disqualify because they're young or they don't have too much experience. You can always get them to a position where they are experienced. So some of these guys are really good and they just haven't had that much experience under their belt. And then you have another group of candidates that is much older, that is sort of between the ages of, let's say, 47 to like 55, or sometimes even 60. That's kind of stretching it. So you have these two groups that chances are these are the two types of age groups that are going to be interviewing or looking for the types of opportunities that you're looking to hire for. So what does this mean? This means that on one side, if the candidates are kind of young, like I said, they're not going to have that much experience, but that's not enough to disqualify them. And on the other side, the candidates are going to be well experienced, and chances are they will be so stuck in their own ways. But those ones that are stuck in their own ways, they will still make good employees, but just understand that they'll probably be looking for the highest rates or being paid the highest rates, or they're just doing that job because they couldn't find anything else. They got no other skills. So also, it's important for you to give them a shot. When you interview somebody on a video call, you can always tell the age, but by law, you're not allowed to ask them about their age. Adaptability to new technology. This one again is so critical because the way things are going and the way business is moving and evolving into the future, it is critical for a candidate to be able to know how to use technology at the very basic level. It's going to be much easier for the younger group that I mentioned earlier, the age ranges of, let's say, 21 to 27, to adapt to new technologies, using the mobile devices, the apps, and so on. But the older generation, that's going to be a challenge. However, if the candidate is a little bit older and they don't have a fixed mindset and they're open-minded to learn these new technologies, then that's a good candidate as well. So you have to realize that for the most part, there are a lot of people that are not good with technology. And this part here really frustrates me because to me, I kind of feel like it's a cop out. I always say this: we're not born knowing how to swim. We're not born knowing how to ride a bike. We're not born knowing how to drive a car. But we learn these skills because we know they're skills that we're going to need for daily living. So when somebody says, "Oh, I'm not good with technology," it's a cop out. It means they're lazy. So you need to be looking out for things like that. If somebody says, "Oh, I'm not good with technology," that's it. It's a wrap. You got to cut them. Write down on your notepad, like, this is not the right candidate, because they're going to have a fixed mindset and they're not going to be willing to learn. In fact, what will happen is if you onboard them, let's say you hire this person that says they're not good with technology, they'll be using that as an excuse every single time something goes wrong on the schedule. Let's say you send them a new schedule through the When I Work app and they don't see that schedule because they're not good with technology. It's going to affect your business. That means they're not going to show up to a shift. That's going to affect your business. So you never want that. So cut that person early, get rid of them. It's a nightmare. People who have that fixed mindset of not wanting to learn something, at least ask them, are you willing to learn? If they say, yeah, I'm willing to learn it and I'm excited and they seem enthusiastic, then that's the right candidate. Part 9 is job responsibilities and compensation. This is the best part. It's important to remember candidates are not coming to you to be your best friend. No, 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 no. They're coming to you and looking for a job to make money, to make more money than they were making at the previous opportunity. So, your job is to tell them exactly how much money they're going to be making in that position. And you are going to position this opportunity as a full time opportunity versus what they used to be getting, which is an hourly opportunity. And those other opportunities that were probably getting in the past were not certain, meaning they didn't get any certainty from those opportunities, which is chances are why they're looking for a new opportunity. Because 9 times out of 10, the job that they're at now is they've cut hours. So this person, they were probably used to getting 50 hours a week. Now they're only getting 20 hours a week, which is why they're looking for a new opportunity. It comes down to money. Everything comes down to money. We all got bills to pay. So similarly, this candidate is going to be looking for the best opportunity. And the best opportunity is money and benefits. So in this part, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be telling them exactly what the salary range is. And then you just say, obviously, depending on experience. You always have to mention this part right here. I know you're probably used to being paid hourly. So this is how this salary that I just told you I'm willing to pay you, this is how it translates to an hourly rate. And so that they, at least at the back of their mind, they know, oh, okay, if I'm used to making $12 an hour, then this opportunity translates to about $20 an hour, which is great. And you're giving them certainty. You're telling them, I'm going to give you 40 hours per week in this part. You're guaranteeing them 40 hours a week, and you're giving them some benefits. Things like dental. Dental insurance, by the way, is not that expensive, so you can give that. We pay about $25 a month for dental insurance, so it's not too expensive to give your employees dental insurance, but health insurance is kind of expensive. So maybe you might want to reconsider health insurance. However, there are additional benefits that you can always throw in there. Things like free food, free lodging for some of the days if they're working overnight shifts, et cetera, et cetera. But you can always discuss those benefits and offer those benefits upon submitting the offer letter if they say yes. So you can always, weigh out the opportunity costs and say, okay, I think if I give them dental and I give them maybe free gas every single week for them to drive back and forth, that's probably going to cost me $100 or I don't know, $100 a month or whatever. Other agencies are not even willing to give out $150 worth of benefits like that. No, no way. So a cool benefit could be we'll pay for your gas and then we'll pay for your dental and maybe we'll pay for your phone bill, something like that. Those details can be worked out in the offer letter, obviously, and that's a conversation we can have on our one-on-one. Then you briefly describe the activities of daily living that they'll be performing to wealthy clients near them. And then you ask them, does that sound like something you'll be open to if I extended an offer to you? Then you wait, then you pause, let them acknowledge it before you proceed. 9 times out of 10, like I said, if the offer is good and the benefits are good, they're going to say yes, so which is great. And then you ask, if I extend an offer, let's say tomorrow, would you need to give 2 weeks notice to your current employer? This is if they're already employed. If they're not employed, but they do have experience, they don't need to give 2 weeks, right? Then you can close out by saying, great, it was really nice meeting you and talking to you. And you can expect a decision from me within the next 48 hours or 3 days, whatever works for you. Or you can say, I want to make my decision by next week. So I've added this template for you to download below this lesson. And If you need to print it out, go ahead and print it out. But if you don't need to, then save it somewhere in your folders, on your computer, so that when you get to the interviewing process, you should have this open and ready. This is your guide. And I've also included an additional exercise for us to do. I'm going to be a candidate who is interviewing for a position at your agency. Just like we did with the sales training, the sales simulation, we're going to do the same thing with you using this guideline. This is going to be something outside of your comfort zone. You are going to have to start using the video chatting tool. And like we did with the sales training, I'm going to give you a hard time. I'm going to ask you all the tough questions as a candidate, because I've been a candidate for many jobs. So I know the right questions to ask. I'm going to ask you a ton of questions. Please study this script and this guideline so you understand how it works. Obviously, some of the wording in there, you can modify it to match your speaking style or your talking style. But for the most part, 99% of this is usable. So in the next lesson, it's going to be pretty short. It's basically me explaining how we're going to do this interview process together like we did for the sales training. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson.